Right. Rugby Championship ended last weekend. What do we take away from it, Tiernan?
I've seen so many comments from Springbok fans saying, "Oh, we're suddenly the best team of all time now." Can I just remind you, aren't even the best in the world right now? You're number two. You're number two. You lost to Argentina, who are like 7 points below you, some places below you. Sorry, like you're nowhere near the 2015 All Blacks. I keep seeing these comments going, "Oh, the Springboks, this is the best team of all time." Like, no, this Ireland team who's never won a quarter final has beaten you 4 times at the last 5 games. They just beat you at home when they had like 9 injuries. Not having it.
Yeah, and I think you see that Argentina game last week. They were saying, "Oh, it was total domination. Oh, the Springboks are great." Like you beat an Argentina team with your full strength team. Argentina are the most inconsistent team in the world. It's almost like a 50% chance they are going to be unbelievable, or they're going to be one of the worst teams on the planet. Not in the planet, but like one of the worst top teams out there. They're going to have an absolute terrible game, and you go and like think that, oh yeah, we're the best team in the world for that. You're clearly not. Like Ireland will probably destroy them even more. Like like not even a full strength team. I say Ireland won't even put out a full strength team against Argentina in November, and we'll still get a comfortable win. I think.
At the weekend, Argentina didn't even have a full strength team. You know, that was just like an A B team. They had a red card and I think two yellow cards, and you know it was at home. And so, I don't know why South Africa are getting so excited over that win, but they won the Rugby Championship. It's fair play, like well done. But they beat a new rebuilding New Zealand side, a rebuilding Australia side, and a rebuilding Argentinian side. So it's not really that impressive. And I've said it for the last year or two, regardless of where Ireland hilariously went out in the World Cup quarter final. I do believe, and they couldn't beat us. They can't beat us, but I do think they are the best team in the
Yeah, we
world, and
can.
I've said it for the last year.
Yeah, and I think the competition wasn't even that great, and they did struggle at times in the Rugby Championship. Arguably, should have lost one of those games against New Zealand too. And they go and talk about how great their depth is, but you see when they sent down a weakened side to Argentina, they go and get beat, and they talk about like how bad that performance was, and then they have to go and put out a full strength side against a weakened Argentina team, and now they think that they're about the best in the world. But moving on to Argentina, Australia, and New Zealand, what do we take away from their campaign this year?
I honestly think that all of them have got positives to take away from, but it's something like New Zealand. I think a lot of people they're never going to be the team they were, in my opinion. They're fans. They're fans that have the passion for it. I don't think they're sort of watching rugby and playing rugby as much as they were. I think the squad has got potential, but they're not bringing in the players they used to, and the under twenties isn't like dominating like they used to. They're not beating England or Ireland or France. So I just don't see New Zealand getting to the team they once were, but they can still definitely compete and win 2027. There's lots of great like sort of signs. I think Fraser needs more time. Australia, I think Joe Schmidt is the man. I really do. I think he's like you saw what he did with Ireland. I think he's a world class coach. And Harry Wilson and Angus Bell, they should have been in the team of the tournament. They were brilliant all tournament for Australia. And then Argentina, I don't need to say anymore. They're just showing first they've beaten all three teams for the first time ever in the Rugby Championship. They're doing brilliantly, and they're only going to get stronger for me.
Yeah, like Argentina, incredible. To take it to the last game, if decide if they're going to win the thing or not, is incredible. In terms of Australia, yes, Joe Schmidt, world class coach. I think coach, coach. I think he's going to take that team far. I think in 2027 they're going to be a lot better than they are right now. And New Zealand, the fans' passions really annoyed me. Like that Argentina game, they sold out half the stadium. Like it's just come on. You have the best team of all time. You should be back in that team. Yes, they're not in the best place right now, but not selling out a stadium for a competitive test match is ridiculous. So New Zealand really disappointed me. I don't think they deserve to finish second in this championship. But all in all, like it was a bit boring. I noticed actually the trophy lift, they don't even give the players medals. Like, are you serious? Same with the social media team, it's terrible. So I think the tournament needs to improve a lot, but it was exciting. The test matches were good. And as much as I don't like Springboks, yes, they were deserving winners.
Yeah, and I think Argentina and Australia, as much as they did have positives to take away from that, and I will give them that, they were very inconsistent. Like Argentina go from being beaten by the Wallabies to go in and putting what 67 points on them. Australia go and have a very promising game against New Zealand, and then it's just like they're barely even in it in the next game. It's like they did have a lot of positives, but there are obviously still negatives there for those two teams. And then New Zealand, like honestly I think that they threw away those games down in South Africa, and they really were theirs to win. And like losing to Argentina, like obviously as Kieran said about the crowds not being really as passionate anymore, I think that 2015 All Blacks, I think that's just the ceiling of rugby in general. I don't think any team will ever hit that level again. And yeah, I think there are some problems in New Zealand at the minute, and I think that yeah, it's worrying time for them. Do you want me to hit pause?
Yeah. I've got a topic.
Right, so this week it was announced that France will only be sending a B team or a C team down to New Zealand in the summer for a series which could have had the potential to be blockbuster, one of the biggest talks of the year. But France go and pretty much shaft New Zealand there. What are we thinking about that?
Look, like, what are they doing? Like, you're touring the All Blacks. If you're not going to send your strongest team there, just don't organize a tour. Like, you thinking that your domestic top 14 is the biggest thing in rugby? It's not. If you want to go down tour New Zealand, bring your best players. Stop prioritizing your overrated domestic league over that tour. In terms of New Zealand, I think they should cancel this tour. It's not worth their time, not worth the broadcasters' time, not worth the fans' time, not even worth both teams' time. Like, it's either if they lose, oh, you lost their French B team. If they win, oh, you only beat a French B team. There's nothing in it. It's a lose-lose situation. So this tour should be cancelled. France just shouldn't organise tours if they're going to be sending B teams. And it's just, yeah, it's bad for rugby.
I think it's disgusting. I think it's disgusting what France do. I mean, it's not new. They've been doing this for like 10 years now against the Southern Hemisphere. And they announced this like 3 months ago. It just sort of went under the radar. But I just don't think it should be allowed. I mean, the problem with the route here is that the top 14 is a problem. It's a problem league. It's hurting rugby, I think, in many ways. I get it's like the best league in the world and the fans are most passionate. And I like England to be more like that in a way and value the club game more. But I don't think the club game should ever be clashing with international windows like this. And absolutely, I always said that Southern Hemisphere teams should stop touring France. Like in autumn, France, New Zealand are going to go to Paris. Take a B team, take an absolute C team if you can. Don't entertain these French fans because they're not going to go reciprocate it down in New Zealand. Like they're not going to travel to Southern Hemisphere countries and give their best teams and like sort of bring in revenue and interest for Southern Hemisphere teams. Like they take all the best players, play them in their league. They expect you to come visit them with the best teams and then just get nothing back. Like I think it's just disgusting. And yeah, I think if you can't cancel the tour, just you're gonna have to play your All Blacks to sort of show the fans, but put a B team out when you go to Paris, and every single Southern Hemisphere team should be doing that. And I think the top 14 needs to either shorten its league or something needs to change because it's just ridiculous, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the top 14, like the amount of games in that league is unbelievable. They're just trying to milk the league for as much money as possible. It's actually insane to the point where the players can't even play for their country. And I'd say it'll even probably annoy like players of the likes like DuPont and Ramos and all that. I'm sure they would want to go down to New Zealand and play the All Blacks like and possibly win a series down there, which has only been done a handful of times. And their federation has gone and said, no, we're not going to do that. It's a bit of a scam for the All Blacks too. They're not going to have any real financial positives out of this. Like it's just going to be a lose-lose situation for them.
In the French league, they have to shorten it. 26 games along with 3 games of playoffs. It's ridiculous. You don't need that, especially now that they've squeezed the Champions Cup down to 8 games. That needs to be longer. The leagues need to be a bit shorter. It's just terrible. They're very selfish, and I know it doesn't make a lot of money, the top 14, but at the same time, international game, best players, best teams. You want a lot of eyes on that, and this French New Zealand tour had potential to be one of the most exciting things in rugby in 2025, and now it's just no one's going to watch it because of this B team situation.
And we saw like when Ireland took their strongest team, South Africa, like the matchups and the just the quality of the games and the hype around it was just massive. And the France could do that if they took their strongest team, but they're not, and it's just going to like hurt New Zealand rugby more than anything. So I just think it's selfish. And I know the French clubs have a lot of like the owners have lots of power, but just fuck them. Like, and if you're a Southern Hemisphere nation, you should say you can play for our international team if you don't play for top 14 clubs. You can play New RC and Premiership because they're actually going to give you the time to go and play back, in our countries. So I think something's got to be done about this top 14 just sort of monopoly that's happening.
Yeah, it's like the value the club game over the international game far more than they actually should. There should be a balance there where you should value them equally. But the French have gone up above and beyond, like to just cater to the top 14, like and make as much money as possible. Yeah, it's obviously the richest league in the world and some world class players are playing there, but it doesn't have to be this long and affect international rugby as much as it does. It's a bit of a disgrace to be honest, and yeah, and in a way, it makes you understand why some Southern Hemisphere fans wouldn't consider Antoine Dupont to be the best player in the world.
And Jimmy, the New Zealand CEO of rugby is like furious that France are taking a B team to them, but they've literally just sort of ended the Rugby Championship in a way, or making it like biannual because they want to do like rich money tours to South Africa and do like these 7-game tours. So, like, is this hypocritical from New Zealand being angry at France when they're going to like hurt rugby themselves to get a load of money from South Africa?
Yeah, well, the New Zealand are struggling financially at the minute, but like the French, as I was saying, they do milk the top 14 for all the money it has. And I think they've realised like that they can do the same for New Zealand v South Africa. Like market it so much, like it sells out instantly, the tickets, and like there's loads of people watching. I think that they're just trying to milk that as much as they can as well. So yeah, there is partly a bit of hypocrisy there. Like I think a little bit.
Yeah, I do agree with Jake. Like, don't complain that someone sent a B team to you when you were literally just ended a rugby tournaments, pretty much. Like, no, rugby championship is meaningless now, pretty much. If you're doing your rugby's greatest rivalry, even though we all know it's Leinster versus Munster, but they can believe what they like. But yeah, just don't complain about someone sending a B team to you. And I agree, the French should not be doing that. But at the same time, you guys should not be prioritizing a 3-game tour to New Zealand and South Africa over your whole Southern Hemisphere tournament. It's not fair on Argentina. It's not fair on Australia.
Now we've just seen probably the most entertaining rugby championship in the good few years. Like every single team's been quite competitive, and big upset wins and all these sort of thing and comebacks. And it's just like, why now? Like, why are you just going for this cash grab to go and get all the South African money? And I just think you can't really criticise France when you're just sort of ending a really good rugby tournament just for money. So I don't. I just think it's a bit of whining as well. But I do also think France are hurting rugby quite a lot in general.
Rico Ioane running his mouth at Johnny Sexton. Big news of the week. What do we think about it? Personally, like, come on, you're talking to a legend of the game here. Humble yourself. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a height of disrespect from Rico Ioane. Like he had he probably had one good season, like about what 5 6 years ago, and I think this is going to be what he's going to be. I think this is probably his claim to fame now. The guy who was rude to Sexton. Like, what are you doing? Like the man just retired. Like his lifelong dream crushed, and you come up to him mouthing off, saying stuff. Like, get a grip.
I love it. I love it. I love hearing Rico have a go at him. I think no, I don't think it's very classy from Rico just on like someone getting knocked out. It's at the end of the game and they're about to retire, just to sort of like say that sort of thing. But at the same time, I do, I love it. I love hearing it. And yeah, Sexton has dished it out his whole career. Even when he was young, he sort of ran into the face of O'Gara, and sort of celebrated in that sort of way. And he's been doing it, countless other games and people. So I don't think Sexton can really complain. I think he's just whining like a baby, like he has his entire career. But also, yeah, it's not the greatest sort of respect from Rico, but I think respect sort of got to earn it, and I don't think Johnny Sexton's done much to earn it throughout his career. I mean, he was attacking Jaco Piper the last time he was playing before that club rugby.
In my opinion, oh, you go ahead.
Yeah, like what's I gonna say? Yeah, I know. I fully agree. It's really good for rugby. I love this banter stuff. We saw earlier on, as much as I don't agree with this either, Evan about lying about the Ireland team, saying that they all said they're going to see it in the final, which they didn't. But it's going to be a great build up at the New Zealand game in November. But at the same time, you're talking here, Rico Ioane, to someone who's won World Player of the Year, achieved more than you ever will in your career. He's a better player than you'll ever be. And I don't like to talk about players like this. But if you're going to come at someone like that, as soon as they retire, just lost quarterfinal, you've won the game, you're through to semi-finals, you're going to act like that. Come on. Especially that Instagram story he posted, like him with the zombie in the background and the Joker card. And then this homo just like second. It's just like, who do you think you are, man?
I loved it. And I think I rate him for it because he got to defend himself. And yeah, that was a great response.
I just think he's immature, and he needs to learn respect a great of the game like Johnny Sexton. That's what I think.
You can't say great at the game. He's not achieved.
Oh well, he's top three fly half of all time.
I'd argue third best fly half of all time, actually.
Yeah.
Great of the game.
No way. You just said third best fly half. No,
head and hands. It's true. It's true.
No, sorry. Who you putting top? Who's above?
Wilkinson and Carter. Johnny Sexton third.
Not sure about that. But I need to think
who's better? Who's better? Tell me who's better.
See if you say
Owen Farrell, can't be on the spot.
If you say Owen Farrell, you'll never be on this podcast again.
Owen Farrell has done more than Johnny Sexton has.
Don't you dare put those two names in the same sentence.
Owen Farrell was so good. He played multiple positions. Sexton can only go on the bench if he's not 10.
It's a fly half. Sexton is
because he is a kicker. He is
a fly half. And Farrell is a fly half and also good enough to play inside centre. Farrell can actually defend. Farrell's a better passer. He doesn't just loop. He's actually
what about tackling
game?
And won 4 Champions Cups. And
what about tackling?
Farrell's won like 3 Champions Cups himself.
I mean, red cards. Farrell.
6 Nations. He's won more. Pretty sure might have done. He's won a Grand Slam, and he actually led England like a leader to England's World Cup final and a World Cup semi-final. Even though we lost to South Africa, he was crazy good. Johnny Sexton ghosted that game against New Zealand, but Johnny Sexton's obviously better.
So DuPont has been in the news this week. He's over in America, and he met up with Messi. What are we thinking about that?
Well, I think it's fun.
Messi
I think it's fun. The go to football has met the go to rugby. It's a big occasion. I think Messi's trying to see someone who's got actual talent, hard work and talent. Because rugby is a harder game than football. But DuPont. I think it shows how big DuPont is. Would you see Ches and Colby getting a call? Oh, come over to Inter Miami. Fuck no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Because DuPont is the best in the world right now, and it just shows that game recognises game, greatness recognises greatness, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm so happy for Messi. Got to meet his idol. But yeah, it really does prove what DuPont does for sport is unmatched for anyone. He's already was one of the poster boys the whole Olympics. Now he's over in LA, going to the NFL. He's going meeting up with Messi. Just crazy stuff. The stuff the guy's doing for rugby, he's by far the best player right now. I know I always have these debates with particularly South African fans saying, "Oh, Pierce F's better, Chesson Colby's better." If you actually watch DuPont live, I've seen him live multiple times. He's incredible, and at the center, I do think he'll retire as the greatest player of all time. He's only gets started.
Are we calling DuPont the Messi of rugby, or is it still Finn Russell? I think I've got to make a decision here because only one can be the true Messi of rugby. What do you think, Jimmy?
Oh, it's a close one, of course. Yeah, Finn Russell. Obviously, yeah, he claimed himself as a Messi of rugby, but I'd say that's a big one up for debate. Yeah, definitely. I can't say that with a straight face. Sorry. Yeah, but DuPont, yeah, Messi of rugby, 100%.